Hello to everybody who grew up with a gemsona, and welcome to this video. As you saw by that little preview, the thumbnail, and the title, we are talking about Steven Universe. This is also just meant to be a chill, relaxing, quiet Sunday video, so I'm not getting into like super crazy lore, just how I felt about it growing up, my favorite characters, and stuff like that. So let's just get into it. And sorry about my voice, I am doing this when I am very tired. So I started watching Steven Universe whenever it first came out. I even saw the pilot originally. I watched the Uncle Grandpa crossover whenever it first came out. And first of all, I love the concept, I love the designs. Rebecca Sugar is a really good creator for this. The music was amazing, the characters were interesting, and it made me feel like I was watching an adult show while still watching a cartoon. And it also helped shape me growing up because I was still figuring out how I felt in my placement of the world, and it just helped me think about that kind of stuff more. It was also one of the first times that I saw actual canon gay relationships on screen, which was absolutely crazy. Everybody theorizing that Garnet was a fusion, and then it ended up being true, and the song Stronger Than You and everything, just, so good. Especially with the fact that every other time we've seen fusion, it was these big, huge monsters. And then we see Garnet all normal, and it's oh yeah, made with love, yay! And then immediately after seeing Malachite, who's just this crazy, toxic, distorted monster. So good. And honestly, this video might be technically considered a redesign, just because whenever I was making all of these looks, it was more how would they be in my art style and how I would design them, just for context. And if not obvious by her being the person that I draw first, Peridot is one of, if not my favorite character. She's silly, goofy, passionate, really nerdy. I feel like out of all of the main gems, her and Lapis and maybe Pearl, those were my mains for who I related to. I felt more like Lapis, but I acted more like Peridot and looked more like Pearl. Which, speaking of Pearl, aside from Rose Quartz / Pink Diamond, I feel like Pearl is the next up in which character is so highly debated. 'Cause, yeah, she hid the biggest secret of Rose's true identity for thousands upon thousands of years, almost ripped the gemstone out of Steven Universe's baby belly button. And sure, she hated Greg because he took her woman. But I think she is a huge example of why the show is so good, because none of the characters are perfect. Everybody has their flaws, has their episodes, has their redemption arcs. Everybody's just constantly growing. And by the end of the series, she's super nice, super chill, gets along with everybody, character development, how every show should have. Which, meanwhile, Rose Quartz / Pink Diamond, she had the exact opposite, which a bunch of people talk about. Since we see at the end of her life, she was this super maternal, sweet, kind, powerful leader. Meanwhile, at the beginning, she was this evil, spoiled tyrant that just wanted what she wanted. And Steven's just gotta live with that, I guess. And live with it he did, because Steven Universe future was so sad, and it felt real, it felt raw emotionally. 'Cause as somebody that understands that background a lot more than the normal person, I think how he acted was a very realistic response, and him turning into that huge monster thing at the end, it threw me off whenever I first saw it, because I'm yeah, he's a big monster, rah, rah, rah. And then he just turns normal with no scarring or anything like the other corrupted gems have. I wasn't a big fan of that part, but obviously they're gonna be well, he's a diamond, so blah, 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 blah. Whatever. And I don't know, and him driving away, it's cool and all, but how is he gonna get food, Like, how's he gonna get a regular job, especially away from the beach? Because the beach seems like it would be pretty easy to get a job. I don't know. I think bro's probably gonna have to get a GED. Now, I've been speaking its praises, saying how cool it is, but I think I should go into just my critiques about it as well. So, obviously, the number one, it's everybody's number one, but how they handled the diamonds. Which, it's not Rebecca Sugar's fault, because Cartoon Network did rush them for the ending, and she already confirmed that they already had this built up before the show even started. Like, they were working on it for so long, so much concept art. And I just seriously wish that there was another universe, pun intended, that Rebecca Sugar was able to create this without the budget constraints, without the strict timeline, without the executive rushing. Like, I want a book. I want a series. I need something. I just want to know how it could have turned out. You know what I mean? And granted, we're not going to be able to get a refresh on the series, and if we do, it'll be like 50 years from now. But I definitely think that with this new show, Steven Universe, Lars of the Stars thing that's coming out on Amazon Prime that Rebecca Sugar's working on, I think that because it's under Amazon Prime, that they'll be able to be a bit more like adult with it. So I'm hoping that can I don't know, give it more, even more depth, because I'm not sure if they're gonna make it like a funny, silly, goofy, them just running around doing hijinks, or if they're gonna make it like super serious, like animated Star Trek, basically. I also hope that this gives us the opportunity to see a lot more gem types. Like, that little glimpse of Emerald was so cool, so good. Now, granted, it did kind of feel like, especially at the end, that they were just kind of running out of ideas for gem designs because, like, I don't know, Snowflake Obsidian, and I don't know, I just feel like at the end, they just kind of did not have any more ideas for how to make them look unique other than making them turn full ambiguous. Which is fine and all, but I was just more confused because I thought these were supposed to look like humans. Like the gems and everything. So maybe they looked different before the corruption and that's just a side effect, but I feel like that's the only gripe I have. Except for Sunstone, because I'm pretty sure Sunstone is my least favorite fusion combo, because it's just, I don't know, it doesn't look like either of them at all, doesn't act like how I thought it would act. It's just, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of it. And I like how I literally just said that I think that gems are supposed to look human, and then my entire design idea for all of this is making them look more non-human and more alien-like. For one, I don't think gems would have eyebrows. I don't know why, but that's just the vibes. And Pearl, I was the least favorite of, as well as the other little tiny yellow pearl that I'm making. I don't know, I feel like they would look the most inhuman just because of how close they are to the diamond. They would be weird, I don't know, not even puppet creatures. I don't know, I feel like their features would just be really exaggerated and spooky, Whovian maybe. I also have to be really in the mood to draw hands correctly. If not, I just wing it and don't even pay attention to them. But hey, that's why this is a sketch with me video and not a look at me do super perfect, awesome line art markers, whatever. That would also be way too long of a title. But I will say, I did miss a couple people in this sketch, which honestly, maybe I'll make a part 2, just talking about it more often. Maybe after Lars the Stars comes out and I'll put more into it. Other than Peridot for the warm-up, I was really just putting in whichever character felt right. Everything in this sketch, as well as any other future sketch videos, are just going to be purely vibes. I do not use references whenever I'm sketching. God, the bugs outside are so loud. It's cicadas. I'm not schizophrenic, I promise. I do wish that we got a bit more of glimpses into, like, Homeworld and the, like, Watermelon Island and Connie going to college. I wish we got a bit more into those rather than just staying in Beach City. Like the Blue Diamond, like Pink Pavilion episode, I forgot what it was called. But whenever they went to Korea and everything for that, and then the shot of the palanquin and the pretty greenery around it, like that was so beautiful. And I wish that like those overall just elegant anime like backgrounds were shown off a bit more. Like even the ruins whenever they were going there for training in the earlier seasons, just so good. And when that Stronger Than You Undertale combo came out, bro, my little nerd heart was so happy. And Five Nights at Freddy's was out. That was like the peak. That was the peak of my existence for like online stuff to watch. And hey, look at that. If you're still watching, you've reached the halfway point. If you're still in this, just tell me what favorite Steven Universe character you had. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I don't know. I'm just giving you a little a little heads up. And then here is the cursed yellow pearl sketch I was talking about. I was kind of trying to redo, just from memory, the scene whenever she was like creeping up behind Yellow Diamond in the episode where Peridot turned on her finally and started her redemption arc. But instead, she just looks melted like a really blurry background character in a Dr. Seuss movie or something. Horton here's a what? That was lame, I'm sorry. I really enjoy this though. I like being able to just talk, say what's on my mind about a topic, and just, mess around, do some drawings, have some fun. And who cares if I make mistakes? It's just content. It's funny. I was really, other than Steven, really like yellow and greenish focused on this page. If not obvious by most of the things that I do, I'm not a huge fan of warm colors. I don't know why, I just never have been. If I have the option to make something cool toned, I will. And I think other than Garnet, this gauntlet flail of Sugalites is the only mention I have towards fusion in this, I think. Like I said, other than Garnet herself, obviously. Like, it does, especially at the end, feel like fusion rather than being like a tactic just turned into something for fun to be like, whoa, new character design, no way. Like in the Change Your Mind special, I hated that so much. Like, it seriously felt like a super cheap way to just be like, the series is about to end and we need to show off all these fusions, so here you go. And then again, ending with Sunstone, which is my least favorite fusion type, just like, whoa. And speaking of Change Your Mind, this is where, not for Change Your Mind, but for the judgment scene whenever Steven was in court for killing Pink Diamond and Blue Diamond was like, "What did you kill her with?" "It was a sword!" That's what I had in mind for this pose here, for why her hair is all flowy and everything. I also have this personal headcanon that since the diamonds and all of the high-ranking gems are like this authority and like not human, that basically the higher ranked you are, the less human you would look like. Because they see humans as these cute little things that don't really matter much, like bugs. So it doesn't really make sense to me that the highest ranking individuals would look just like big people. So I definitely over-exaggerated Blue Diamond's eyes, and again, I feel like they would have like not like the bones because they're made of hard light, but the like way to make expressions, but I don't think they would have eyebrows. I don't know. I just don't feel like they would. Now all I can imagine is just Amethyst drawing on eyebrows every day. Ooh, and personally, I did really love White Diamond's design. I really did. Like, apparently it took 8 hours alone on making sure her shoes were correct. Like, that's just intergalactic baddie status right there. I do personally dislike the fact, though, that the, like, not sculptures, the, like, monument things in the moon base didn't look like the diamonds at the end at all. Like, unless those were past forms, but I don't think they would get poofed like that. Especially with pink diamond. Like, we were all expecting something huge and the same size as the diamonds and like this cool, like unique design. And then she just turned out to be a spoiled brat child that then was like, I'm gonna turn into a thick mama. Yay. Like, that did kind of disappoint me. And again, they had the storyline, rose quartz being pink diamond since the beginning. But I feel like it would have just made it so interesting if that wasn't the case. And like, the characters were obviously mad too. But it's just like, having the entire series be everybody hates me because I'm mom, and then once people figure out he's actually the descendant of Pink Diamond, it's everybody loves me because of my mom. And it's like, ooh, oh my god, wow, you're a diamond, we love you. We're no longer gonna kill a bunch of planets because you're here, yay. Like, it would have been dark, but imagine a world where Rose Quartz actually did shatter Pink Diamond, and then, like, somehow he does get to Homeworld or get kidnapped or something like that. And then we could have, like, this big sequence where the diamonds are like, oh, you're so horrible, but we're gonna break our own morals to beat you. They fuse, turn into, like, this mega giant. And then all the crystal gems are like, man, we have to. Then they make the big, huge obsidian and just have like a big galactic fight in Steven Universe. He's got to be like, do we shatter these people? What do we do? And it's just like, I don't know. I feel like having it being an actual war would make sense. Because we saw how beautiful those fights can be on the Watermelon Island with Alexandrite and Malachite. Like, we saw that. That was, I believe, the best fight sequence in the whole show. Like, I remember when that came out and it felt like I was watching Godzilla for the first time. I was just like, oh my god, they're fighting, they're huge, the watermelon people need a run. And with the fact that all Obsidian really did was just like use their mouth as a furnace to make a big sword and then climb the leg of a mecha robot, that's really it. And my only question is that if this was an option, why didn't they just fuse into obsidian and then just shatter the other diamonds that way? Because they were obviously strong enough, especially with Pink herself. I mean, obviously Pink Diamond is not as strong as the other diamonds, but I mean, with everybody else fused, she definitely could at least like hold up her role. But something I haven't exactly heard anybody have a theory about, it's probably out there, but I feel like with all the other diamonds being white, yellow, and blue, that Pink Diamond was supposed to be Red Diamond, but they didn't have enough, like, materials, or, like, White Diamond had to help out with the creation, I don't know. Especially because Pink Diamond seemed a lot younger than the others, so I feel like it would just be a really interesting thought process in like how the diamonds themselves going to be, because they seem like the leaders, and like how the diamonds exist in the first place. Like, we know with the other gems they put like this injector fluid to steal all of the nutrients, and then they like grow, turn into hard light beings and like these super ultra rare geodes. But what caused the original diamonds? Because the theory is that White Diamond is the first ever gem, so, like, what happened? Like, some people say that the reason why Homeworld is all crushed up was because White Diamond was built out of it, so it just, like, took everything. But what are they even meant to be? Like, the only thing I can think of is that gems, especially the diamonds, the way that they were made was, like, from the actual, like, magma core of the inside of planets, and just like taking all of those nutrients, and they pressurized so hard it turned into a big lady. I do think that also would make sense for why the cluster was built the way that it was, because all of the actual power and the reason why planets die because of making gems was because all of the power is coming from the core and all that for, like, the life force of the gems. Look at me being all nerdy and smart. But that's just a theory. A Steven Universe theory. The video's not done yet. Oh yeah, and just so you know, the thing behind Blue Diamond is supposed to be the palanquin. Like I said, I'm not using references. All of this was just straight from my brain onto Sketchbook. I also have a personal rule whenever I'm doing like these sketch with me things by myself or on camera that I cannot use an eraser. I feel like that just ruins the whole point. It's just supposed to be brain to sheet immediately. Everything gets tracked. Everything needs to show its existence. I can't erase anything. But that's also how things like that ugly yellow pearl exist, so good for creativity, maybe bad for possibly having people want my art in the future. But I mean, if you do want some art from me, you can hit me up on Instagram or put it down in those comments and let me know, and I'll maybe set something up where you can buy customs or physical things. Ayo, maybe tell me about it. Let me know. But also, subscribe, because even if you don't buy anything from me, I'm a nerd and I want to tell you and show you a bunch of all the little art things in my brain. I'm just a little guy, Your Honor. I just do little doodles and make little sculptures, please. Oh yeah, that little cotton candy block right there. I was thinking about making Garnet just with the, like, pink and blue afro, but I decided against it. And then here's me just adding some little extra background color, making everything look all nice and pretty. And then I last minute added a little amethyst cat because I realized that I had everybody else in the main section and she was missing and I could not let that slide. So there she is, just a little transformed as a little kitty cat in the corner. She's so cute. I feel like that's very amethyst anyways, to just have her be just straight chilling in the background, not even caring. But with that final touch, it seems like it's time to say goodbye. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you enjoyed sketching along with me. If you did like this video, please leave a like because that gives me the sweet, sweet dopamine to keep making these videos. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye!